this is something that you need to be honest because it's for the audience out there to realize, to listen to you and say, hey, if I'm a Malaysian and I want to be in the World Championship, what do I need to do? What kind of attitude do I need? So tell us a little bit about your experience with Malaysian riders, with Zulfahmi, and then at the time we had a few other boys.
Yes.
And what do you think we went wrong?
First of all, nothing went wrong.
So, salam sejahtera, a very good afternoon. Welcome to our special edition of podcast We'll Talk with Raz. As everybody knows, now it's the pre-season test for the 2025 MotoGP season at Sepang circuit before they go to Buriram for the test and for the first race in March. So we are very happy to welcome all the MotoGP riders, team members, team principals, and for this episode, we have a very, very special guest that I've known this person since 2010 when I was the CEO of Sepang Circuit, and he was the platform for me to achieve what I did when I was not only in MotoGP, but when we did our program for our young Malaysian riders in Moto3 and so on. He's someone that I really look up to. A lot of his ways in doing the paddock is something that we learn from, and how he does things. He's a no-nonsense person, okay? Stone cold person at the same time because of where he's from. But he's very good in doing what he does. He developed a lot of champions in Moto3, Moto2, and now he's embarked into a new adventure of being the team manager of MotoGP. Who is that? Well, let me introduce to you Mr. Aki Ajo, team manager of KTM MotoGP team.
Thanks.
How are you, Aki?
Thanks a lot, Razlan. First of all, and I'm fine. Already busy, many busy days here
I'm
here
sure.
in Sepang, but of
I'm
course,
sure.
always motivated for the new things. And congrats for your new nice job.
Thank you. Well, like we said when we first met, when you walked through the door, this is a bit unusual, weird, because I'm in a different situation than you're used to. I'm so used to you, but usually you don't come for the MotoGP test except for this time around.
Actually, I have been here, especially
Yes,
in
you
Sepang, because my company, we have managed
Yes.
riders also in MotoGP. Still, we are managing Jack Miller, and before was also Maverick Vinales, and some other maybe things also around MotoGP. But of course, now it's a little bit different role than before.
So now you still manage Jack Miller. Anybody else?
No, in this championship, not anyone else.
Okay.
We have one, let's say, most promising Scandinavian guy, Rico Salmela, who is riding in Junior World Championship. So
Okay.
he's the rider who we follow, but he only Jack.
I don't know how you do it. I guess maybe you download a lot of your stuff to your wife Hannah and your son Nicholas, because you have Moto3, Moto2, and now you're managing the ultimate class, the MotoGP team. Wow.
Yeah, of course, we have in our company many things to do, but that's honestly my main job is now to leading this MotoGP activities here for KTM and to be team manager. But of course, in Moto2, Moto3, Niklas has grown a lot. He has been a long time there. Hanna as home is our let's say the real boss.
Yeah.
And Thomas Fonsea, who has worked with us many years. There is many good persons, and I would say that now was maybe also more ready and right moment also to move here when things are, let's say, prepared.
No plans for
activities.
No plans for your daughters to join you?
At the moment, I think they have seen enough our life, and they are looking something
Looking for something
else. Yes.
Okay, I think Aki, let's. I mean, there's more to come when it comes to your new role as a team manager. But I really like to talk about how we first met, and we spoke briefly just now. When did we actually first meet? I can remember it was in 2010 in my office in the race control, where we were not happy with the team that we put Zulfahmi Khairuddin in. And I said, look, you know, for our boy to be the best, to compete at equal level, we need to find a good team. And at that time, you just won the championship, the 1 to 5 category with Marc Marquez. It was a crazy race. I think everybody cannot forget that race. So immediately I asked my track manager, I don't know whether you know him, Spencer, the big guy. Spencer, you need to get this guy to come and meet us. And true enough, when I went to the office, you were there. Okay, and we wanted you to help our young Malaysian talent to be a local hero and to do the best they can. And we put Fahmi there. Maybe you can share with the audience what it's like, because at that time was your first time working with an Asian rider. Okay, and this is something that you need to be honest because it's for the audience out there to realize, to listen to you and say, hey, if I'm a Malaysian and I want to be in the World Championship, what do I need to do? What kind of attitude do I need? So tell us a little bit about your experience with Malaysian riders, with Zulfahmi, and then at the time we had a few other boys.
Yes.
And what do you think we went wrong?
First of all, nothing went wrong. So it was, let's say, my first, close relationship with Malaysians. About Asians, I have worked a lot with Japanese before that, but I think the culture is quite different for the Asians, especially for us when we're looking from Europe. But first of all, I want to say that this was really great years also for me and my staff. I was visiting quite often in that time also. In Malaysia, I felt like a second home to come here, and I have to say that how we were always welcome and hospitalized here. This was something new for me and my family. Really, we were really pleased for that and surprised that how welcome we were all the time and how much.
Actually, you were also one of the guests to give the awards during the Malaysian Motorsport Awards. I think that was in 2017. I think you gave an awards during the test.
I think so.
Yeah.
So it was great years, and we worked with many riders. But as you say, we felt that we have to be part of the project to bring Malaysian, let's say, road racing, and especially Malaysian, let's say, MotoGP more high. And I have to say that you done a good job, because I remember when we were first time here, or when we start cooperation, was not so many spectators, but during those years, for many activities, what you have done here, and for sure, this what we were doing together, I think was one important thing also, especially with Zulfahmi, because I think we started a little bit from zero. I have to tell something that when he arrived first time to Finland was already, I think, end of 2010. I asked him to Finland, to my home, to a little bit know him and where he is, what kind of project we have. Zulfahmi was the first rider. And I remember we were in our workshop in Finland and looking from big screen about the races last year, how he was riding, some other riders. Me, my son Niklas, he was already also he was coming to World Championship. Yes,
no, he was still racing.
Yes, no, he was. When we start 2011 with Fahmi, was second year for him or third?
Second year. Third year.
Third, but it was the first year for Niklas.
Yes.
But okay, Niklas has maybe a little bit more experience in this moment than Fahmi, and Fahmi was a little bit crazy, let's say, in this moment, that he had many crashes. And I said to him when we looking to videos that we have to a little bit develop your thinking and working methods and riding style. And he said, what do you mean? And I say, hey, if we look about these crashes, that you go full in and with ambulance out. I say, this is your riding style. This was the base.
Yeah. Of course, under your guidance, and I think because that's the year that's the most memorable for me, was when he was on a podium here. He was second. He lost out to Sandro in that last corner. And he did it again in World Superbike. He lost it in the last corner. But that was the most memorable year for me as a Malaysian. I think for a lot of Malaysians as well,
Yes.
and something that you have contributed and developed. Then thereafter, something wrong, which I still couldn't pinpoint exactly what happened with Fahmi, because after that he was with the Asia Sepang Circuit Colors, and then we managed to got him into as a third rider as the KTM Moto3 rider. But then it seems that he couldn't keep up the momentum.
Yeah.
In your views, we didn't really talk about this, right? So what do you think?
First of all, I think we did a big step. That this 2011, I used to say many times that it's not only about the wins when people ask about the big memories. And one big memory for me in my career was when Fahmi was in 9th position in Sepang GP here, 2011. And the crowd was crazy.
Yeah.
Because, okay, you had some riders in the past and quite good result, but it was long time that was not really any Malaysian doing really well. And he was in top 10, and I think he was 9th. And for me, it was a nice moment. And to see the crowd, and year by year also more crowd here and everything, so was good. And then year later, we started this the 1 to 5 finished and moved the switch to Moto3. And we started this cooperation with the KTM, and we built around Fahmi's own team, Aki Ajo KTM team.
Yes.
And this was, of course, it was one more big step in his career. And let's say his best year, I would say, in his career. And as you mentioned, Sandro was not so kind. That Sandro win the championship here, but I felt, okay, half joke, but I felt that he should give the win to Fahmi and come as a second in the finish line, and both are happy. But he passed in the finish line, Fahmi. But what happened after that? Okay, I think also the pressure gets so much higher. Fahmi's life also changed quite a lot. Yeah. Okay, it's different that you come where he was living and all the background and everything. You come to Europe, you start to be famous here and everything. Fahmi is very clever boy and feet on the ground, but still this effect kind of changed for all of us. And I think was a little bit about all the mental part and everything, that if he could control. And I have to say that if you start later than your competitors, for example, in Europe, okay, he was catching them a lot, but of course, you cannot pass all the lessons what others has done already many years before than you. And it's not so easy then anymore to make a last step. And then when the pressure is coming, if you are not anymore improving as you was believing and as you hope, then it's mentally also really, really, let's say, challenging part. And it's not easy to go.
Yeah. Well, after the Zulfahmi, we say some success with him, we tried to develop other young Malaysian riders without much success. I guess you can't expect to get a Zulfahmi every year, correct? I mean, some like in any other sport, a good rider comes like 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 1,000,000, correct? And from what I've learned since then, and where I progress, where I myself have worked with European riders, Japanese riders, and for the sake of the audience, if a Malaysian boy wants to do well, what kind of discipline, what kind of focus, what does he need to do? I heard you are very strict with riders. Okay, they in the beginning they don't like you.
Honest.
Yes, you're honest. They don't like you, but the moment they win a world champion, they always contribute the fact that it's because of you. So they don't like it then, but they realize that if you don't do what you did to them, they will not be a champion of the riders they are today. So what is it that, for you to tell the kids out there, the Malaysian young riders who will come here during the test to see their heroes, and they want to be a MotoGP rider, what would be the clear message to them?
Of course, first of all, I see somehow differences between the cultures also, that where young athletes are coming from, which country, which area they are coming from. And of course, there is differences. And first of all, that how is the culture in that each sport in your country. That if there is strong culture like MotoGP, for example, in Spain and Italy, of course, you have a lot of professionals around you and a lot of right advisors around you, and this level is really high and everything. So competition is really, really tough, but also right advisors, right atmosphere. If you are learning this since young and you are always in the right place in your country, then many riders go to Spain because it's a really tough championship. Also now I see the practicing plays a really big part, more than before, that riders are practicing much, much more. And when you are practicing in the right group, with the right guys, with the right methods, that's very important, with the best ones.
Yeah.
And there is something, of course, if you're coming from Australia or South America or Malaysia or Japan, it's a little bit more tough to do than for guys in the South Europe or all the European guys, basically. And this is something that you really, really need to sacrifice something more. First of all, you need to have these tools, of course, an economical background and everything. But even you have all of those and you can go there and live there, then we really measure how strong you are mentally, how much you really want it. And I have to say that maybe in that point with some Malaysian boys, I don't see in every eyes that I'm ready to sacrifice everything for this. But it's not only Malaysians. I think it's the culture what's around the world now comparing to old times, that, I don't know, maybe we are a little bit looking more easy life than before. And then we have less and less kind of families and especially kind of young athletes who are ready to just look the target one point and year by year ready to sacrifice all the rest for this.
Yeah. It's a funny thing because you have developed champions for Moto3, Moto2, and now you're trying to do the not to say the impossible, try to have a champion MotoGP with KTM. Okay, but you are from Finland. Okay, you are not from Spain, from Italy. How can someone from Finland who has no MotoGP, well, we try to have MotoGP in Finland, okay, how do you manage to do all this? You would think, Spanish team managers, Spanish bosses, Italian or French, how can a guy from Finland able to do what you're doing, to develop champions?
First of all, I would like to say I'm European because I'm from Finland, but let's say I was riding myself already. So more than 30 years, I travel around the world and of course see many different cultures. Yeah. Maybe I'm a little bit Malaysian, a little bit more Spanish, whatever, white Latin, let's say. That of course I am not anymore like a normal Finnish guy. Even I keep those points which are normal for us, that we are quite strong in mind and, like they say, ice cold.
Yeah, you're Viking.
Maybe I'm more serious and maybe I'm less serious and more ice cold than people think. I'm a happy man, but maybe I'm not smiling enough outside. But let's say that this is something that I would like to go back for the last question what you have, and how I explained that the culture is different in different countries and also in different times. If someone coming from Finland and he need to really fight, he has some clear target and dream in the life. And if you are really fighting for it, when you come from far from Finland to South Europe and everything, and for this sport what is not big in our country, and you really need to fight it, there is always tested that if you really want it, and if you continue, it means that you really want something and you get stronger and stronger. And maybe this is one reason that I really wanted it. Many people say it's impossible to do for this business from Finland. And I was maybe enough stupid in this moment that I didn't understand that it's quite complicated and it will be tough. But I keep going. In other hand, maybe makes me a little bit stronger. And also it gives me a lot of experience for different things, because I don't have people around me who, even I was rider and I go to South Europe and for the races, there was not many advisors. We need to learn many things in our small group, and then was really good school. You need to touch a little bit everything, and I think this was the base to do also the job what I'm doing now, that you are not only coming from technical side or not only from rider side or not only from business side, from everything. I needed to touch a little bit everything. So was really like a multi-school for all the different tasks.
Yeah, I mean, like you rightfully say, but at the end of the day, you are like a coach, right? You motivate them, you push them, and from someone that doesn't, I mean, you are not an ex MotoGP rider, okay, but you are able to motivate them and get the best out of these kids. Now, I want to move on a little bit about, could be sensitive for you, but from when I was in the paddock, when we had our Moto3, Moto2 team, we always want to get the best riders, but the best riders always go to you because, Aki has a relationship with KTM Red Bull rookies, so all the best ones we go to him. So these guys are already good, so that's why he wins all these things. I'm sure you hear many times like that, right? So how do you say to that? I mean, from the Junior World Championship, from Red Bull rookies to Moto3, still a very different championship. Okay, just because through a commercial arrangement, whatever, with Red Bull rookies, yes, you have the first ride for these riders in Moto3, but it's not a matter of just putting them in and they just become champion. You still have to work with them, right? So how do you say about all these critics who say that all the good riders is taken by Aki because or whatever?
First of all, you know how I am. I'm not listening and thinking too much what people is talking. Yeah. Maybe sometimes I should more, but I am so passionate, so thankful that I can do this job. Still old man and still lucky to be here. So I am not focusing too much for these things. And the passion is so big. And also I would like to show for all the people that how big is my passion, and we can do it together. So this is the first step already, that you show you are ready to do everything. Also those things which, as you mentioned before, they first maybe see negative, that you are quite strong, you are very honest, but that's the base how I always try to teach everyone, that the base for everything is to be honest to yourself, and then of course honest with your team, with your group. And I would say that I don't care what they say, but I try to show immediately something what we have focused, that it's to convince the riders when they are coming that, okay, maybe some part of the job they are doing a little bit different, and maybe this part could be very important for me. Of course, each rider we are trying to analyze a little bit different way and looking, same methods are not working with everyone. When I was younger, I tried to always use same methods, but I think what we have learned at least, that you need to see which each athlete needs and try to service him in best possible way. And I don't mean service that give them something nice all the time. No. Service is also to be very honest, to work for the points which we have a week, and to understand each day that what's important. And I always say that it's not any magic. But with teamwork, of course, you can make differences, because nowadays most of teams have similar material. As you know, Moto3 and Moto2 especially, there is no really difference. You cannot make too much difference with technical things. So how you can do it? You can do it with systematic teamwork that focuses for right things all the time, and of course the mental part of the rider. And nowadays, when I just said before that riders are so ready when they are young now for many times for this championship, but mental part is something that if you are young, these lessons you cannot pass and learn, the life experience. And I mentioned many times that I'm talking a lot about the life with the riders, sometimes more than about the riding. And we have many people in the team, so they can focus on this riding and technical things. But what young people especially need many moments to go over tough and difficult moments is the life experience. And this is where we need to support. And I see there we maybe try to support maybe more than some of our competitors, some other teams.
I can, well, I mean, like I said just now, just because you get riders from the Red Bull rookies and whatnot, you cannot win every year. There are one particular year you didn't win, but then there's one particular year that you won everything. I'm like, wow. I mean, I guess in the paddock, everybody is jealous or envious of each other's success, But like you said, you just focus, do your work, do the best for your team and the riders. That's all that matters, correct?
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Good. Well, I mean, now you're in a big league. Now you are a team manager for KTM Red Bull MotoGP team. How do you feel when it was finally announced that you took over Francesca and become the new boss? How do you feel? Don't tell me this is a job that you don't want. Come on.
No. Of course, I like challenges, and this is one more challenge again in my life and in my career. And but in other hand, I don't put it in some special category or something. Work is work, and the challenge is challenge. And each challenge, I think it's important, I repeat again, to keep it simple and try to see what it needs to be even better, to keep everything working well and how we can improve the things. Racing is daily improvements. And I think the people who each day find the right focus for the right things and can make things happen or developing even better each day, they are the best. But of course, it's many areas. And as I say, always, racing is racing. I don't want to make it too complicated. But of course, each category is different. Moto3, Moto2, MotoGP. And in MotoGP, the technical part playing much bigger part. And as in Moto2 and Moto3, especially nowadays rules, that it's quite, let's say, limited there. And everyone has more or less same material. So that's very important part. And of course, this you need to keep in mind all the time for everything, what is happening in the team and for the focus as well. So that's the biggest difference, let's say, in this category.
As you said, when you were, you're still doing Moto3 and Moto2, in terms of technical, there's not much you can do within what is set in the regulations. Same with MotoGP, but how do you get yourself up to date or know what direction it is technically in terms of developing the bike? And this, we're talking about MotoGP bike, where you probably work with 100 more people in Austria and here. I mean, how do you make the bike better? How do you work with the technical guys, knowing that you come from when I was the team principal for a satellite team, we can't do any technical stuff. We list it like that, and that's the best that we can do. But you're in a factory team now, so you somehow would have to guide or not on the development of the bike.
Factory team, of course, is somehow different, and satellite teams, especially in the past, were quite different. That they were really satellite teams. Now I would call that nearly every manufacturer don't have a satellite team; that they have a second factory.
Yes,
and that's one important point to really use, I think, for manufacturers, the satellite team in the correct way. And to simply say it, for your question, that it's communication. And what the first things what I have focused since last summer in this job, when I start to focus even more and more, then was this communication between each divisions. First of all, here on the track, this is the most sensitive point, that we here, of course, do the right job, but also to give the right information and communicate well with the factory and test team. It's the development division, it's the test team, and 2 racing teams here. And the dream is that we are like one unit, and communication has to be really smooth daily and has to be leaded well, that all the parties are focusing each day for the same target, and people are informed and also understand what are our target. And this is something what personally I started to focus quite a lot. And I think this is never-ending story. You can always improve it, but at least was the first points. And I feel that we are already on right path and already, let's say, improving that part as well.
And you being with the KTM family for, more than 15, 20 years?
Nearly 15 years, yes.
Yeah, 15 years. You know their style, they know you. Of course, it makes it easier for you to do your work. The people in the factory knows you, so it's easier in that sense.
For sure, it's totally different than someone is coming outside. That I am the oldest in this paddock, I am the oldest KTM employee, let's say, or KTM guy who is, let's say, traveling for each race here. So I have long experience with them. And of course, even I have not been officially involved in MotoGP project. Unofficially yet, of course. I have been part of the project with our junior program. Of course, we are developing riders, but of course, for the weekly communication also with MotoGP people, I have followed a little bit outside, but quite close. Last 2 years, our managing rider, Jack Miller, has been KTM rider, so I have been daily on the track here. So it's not new for me. And actually, 3 years ago already, more than 3.5 years ago, was the first moment when we were discussing if I come to this job where I'm at the moment. But also from our side, from my side and Ajo Motorsport side, was not really the right moment yet to take this job. And while we were talking about it, and last summer was the moment to make it happen, and everyone was more ready.
I mean, I can remember, every time we met, you always whisper to me, "Hey, Razlan, if there's anything, I can join you." Of course, my situation is complicated, but we are so happy that you are finally, whether you want it or not, come on, you want it. You are with the MotoGP team. But just to address the elephant in the room, okay? Yes, you are the new team manager for the factory team. Then this news about what's going on with the group. We simply cannot see KTM not in MotoGP, period. Okay, so we know that this will resolve very well and KTM will continue to be racing in MotoGP. Does that distract you in any way in doing your work with all this news surrounding the group?
I have to say that I feel at the moment that we have everything to do good job and good development on the track. We have good test this week here.
Yes.
And I would say that our staff was even quite surprised about all the development and everything, all the new parts, everything what has happened. So I would say that one of the first things few months ago, end of last season for me, was even a little bit slowed down, let's say. That of course you need to develop all the time, but you need to make also right decisions. Where you are focusing, when you bring something really new here, how is tested, when we are ready. And I would say this is also one part where we focus a lot in the last months, that little bit cool down, keep the development on the back really strong, but a little bit cool down the work here and really try to optimize and understand our current package, because MotoGP is really, really tough. First of all, I have to say that KTM has done really good job, because we have been just from 2017 here, and last 2 years we were the second best manufacturer. So first of all, we need to be proud of it, and the second, we want much more. But how to make it happen? To make it happen all the time, to bring something new, push, or to try to optimize what you have, to open a little bit eyes of the people, riders, everyone, that hey, we are not so bad. And with the right steps, we can do it, but we cannot be, let's say, crazy for the moves and everything. And this is something also what we have talked and analyzed a lot, what we have now, and try to just bring the right steps here to not disturb the daily job on the track. As we know now with the sprint races and everything, the weekends are much more hectic.
Yes.
And you cannot test a lot.
Yes.
So you need to keep this also in mind.
And what it really helps is you have two good test riders. So that really helps.
We have two excellent test riders, but we have also for this year, we are I don't know if I can say that we are lucky, but we have so strong riders also.
Yes.
We have four riders, each of them has been world champion in Moto3 or Moto2, and this is something that we need to use it in the correct way.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, of course you have Brad Binder and Acosta went up with you through Moto3 and Moto2. Could this be
Brad Binder as well? 5 years.
Yes,
5
correct.
years with us.
So these are the two riders that essentially, that if they win a world champion, that you actually took them from Moto3.
Yeah,
correct?
I would say more in this way, that They are the fruits of our MotoGP
Yes.
program of Red Bull and KTM. So this is something, of course, what we had quite unique program comparing to any other factories. We do it since 2012, but when MotoGP was coming even more, that Miguel Oliveira was here, Brad Binder, they were our riders in Moto3 2015, and since that many other riders as well. So of course, it's nice for the program, of course, for me also that I know the guys and they know me quite well. Okay, it's not only me, it's big group, but also helps somehow my job that I know the guys and how they are. And also Maverick Vinales, we have managed him in the past. We have close relation as well. Enea, I don't know yet so well, but of course, we know each other from the paddock. So we have quite unique quartet.
I think it's no longer where a satellite team is for young riders. I mean, everybody wants to win. Okay, so that's why you have the satellite or second team with experienced riders like Enya and Maverick. Of course, you have the big hype, well, not hype. Pedro is looking to continue his progression and do well, and Brad Binder. So what's your target this year?
First of all, for this, that if you have rookie riders or experienced riders, I think then you need to also build your working package a little bit different way. Rookies cannot be all the time here and test some items and everything. And especially today, for example, when we make a plan a little bit for the 3 testing days here with the race riders, it was very, very nice with our technical group to make the plan when we have 4 experienced guys.
Yes.
Everyone already ride this bike, okay, Maverick and Enea only 1 day in Barcelona, but a lot of experience. Also, we need to use the correct way, the information and comparison from the riders who has been in the other manufacturers before. It's very important to see the differences and collect information. And the second, everyone is able to do the test job. It was also very important that we were with the racing team here. We made special decision that we didn't bring our test team here. We wanted to do it. We decided to do it with our racing group, the test.
Right.
So we feel also in this way much more prepared. That we are already 1 week here, we test with the test riders, we bring all the information to racing riders now and continue the job. Okay, with different riders, but still continue the steps. And to have 4 experienced guys is a big advantage, which we hopefully use well.
Okay, Aki, one last question before we finish. Who do you think will win the championship this year? What's your prediction? And you're always good. You're always good with that.
You know that I never like to answer. I never like to think. And I'm the guy who trusts that if you focus for the daily improvement, each result is just, or let's say the championship or something or whatever, it's just the result of the work. Let's focus for the daily work.
Well, very, very safe answer, Aki. Well, Aki, thank you very much for being our guest here. It's been a pleasure. I wish you all the best for the 25 season. I hope to see you in one of the European rounds. We'll see. But definitely when you come back to Malaysia, I'll be here and see whether you can at least get on the podium for Malaysian Grand Prix. So there you have it, guys. Great session with Aki Ajo. KTM is here to stay, and well, we wish them all the best and good luck. Thank you.
Nak harga diskaun untuk tiket MotoGP Malaysia pada Oktober ini? Jom saya tunjukkan cara mudah untuk dapatkan harga tersebut. Mudah sahaja, hanya dengan tonton podcast Wheel Top dan gunakan kod yang tertera di kaca skrin anda untuk dapatkan diskaun sehingga 20% pada pembelian tiket. MotoGP merupakan antara pengalaman yang tidak patut dilepaskan, jadi jangan tunggu lama-lama kerana promo ini adalah eksklusif dan terhad. Ianya hanya akan dibuka selama 3 hari pada setiap video. Dah beli tiket? Jumpa anda di Sepang.